All right, it's going to be another massive week for Kirby Smart and the Georgia Bulldogs, not only on the team front, but on the recruiting front as well. They've got more spring practices this week leading up to G-Day on Saturday, Georgia's annual scrimmage. It's going to be a big deal, and as expected, like every other year, there's going to be a giant amount of visitors in town to take in Georgia's scrimmage. I'm going to be talking all about that throughout the week. Talking about scrimmage notes, talking about recruiting notes. I've got a big story on Dawg Post right now detailing both. There's a lot of insider scoop on the website, but I do want to jump on here because our YouTube channel, our YouTube fans are the best. But this video, I'm going to talk about the quarterback situation. Of course, Matt Zollers, four-star quarterback from Pennsylvania, chose Missouri over Georgia last week. I believe that was Thursday. Of course, if you've been watching my videos, you kind of knew that he was not going to end up at Georgia. I thought Georgia may have been the team to beat for a little bit, but as his decision started, coming up, started to hear more that it was not going to be Georgia. And I said that last week. So not a surprise to any of you because y'all are very smart Georgia fans because you're watching this video. But, I get a lot of questions now. Where does Georgia go at quarterback? So I'm going to talk about both top quarterback targets in this video right now. The first guy to keep an eye on is Ryan Montgomery. He's a guy that the staff has liked for a very long time. Mike Bobo, the entire offensive staff, they really like him. He's only ranked as the number 19 quarterback prospect in the country, number 243 overall. That's not going to really excite a lot of Georgia fans who are used to Kirby signing five-star quarterbacks and high four-star quarterbacks, some of the best in the country. Ryan Montgomery is really good. He's accurate, 70% completion, 3,300 passing yards, 38 touchdowns, 10 touchdowns on the ground. The stats are great, but y'all want to know where he's going. That's why y'all tune into me. That's why y'all are on Dawg Post. Now, here's the latest, okay? Did some digging this weekend, spoke to someone very close to Ryan and his family. They said now they will decide in early May. So they've got a commitment coming up in the next several weeks. The plan right now is to take one official visit and then go to the school of choice for another weekend in June to help build the class. So, this time last week, I probably thought Florida and South Carolina were leading in his recruitment. But with Matt Zollers off to Missouri and Julian Lewis, I'm going to talk about in a second, still kind of up in the air. He's taking a lot of visits. I think he's still firm in Southern Cal. He's coming off like a 3-day visit there recently. He's been to Colorado. He's been to Alabama, Auburn. I still think Georgia has a very legitimate chance of flipping him, but it's still up in the air. And I don't know when he's going to be making a decision of where he's going to flip or stay. But Ryan Montgomery is coming up on a decision. And if you're Georgia, you need a quarterback in the boat because if this kid, chooses Florida or South Carolina, then you're putting all your eggs into the Julian Lewis basket. And it doesn't seem like the smartest thing. I'm not Mike Bobo. I'm not a coordinator. I'm not Kirby Smart. I don't lead a program. But as someone who covers recruiting, it is important that you get a quarterback on board. It's not Matt Zollers. It could be Ryan Montgomery. And right now, Julian Lewis is committed elsewhere. So Ryan Montgomery has turned into a big deal. And you should not be surprised if you start hearing more momentum with Georgia and this four-star from Ohio. He was in Athens March 16th, and I was told that was a business trip. He was in Athens in January, was back March 16th. That was a business trip. They saw practice and meetings, which was awesome. That was the quote I was given. They want us back for an official visit in June, so that's the plan. It was going to be June 22nd. Now those things have changed. He's only going to take one official visit, and I think that will be after he makes a commitment. He's going to take an official visit to that school and then be back another weekend in June. So that's the latest right now. But he's not a stranger to Athens. I do think that they've had some very good conversations. Ryan and the family with Mike Bobo, Streeter, Montgomery, a lot of those guys on the staff as, assistants, offensive analysis, Mike Bobo's right hand man, all of those guys. They're very high on Ryan Montgomery, and they've been recruiting him for a while. So he is definitely a guy to keep an eye on. He's big, 6'3", 210, plays basketball, really good athlete, can move, can run, can throw on the run. He's accurate. He's a good quarterback, but he's, ranked as number 19 quarterback in the country. The rankings aren't perfect, but I'll tell you what, if Georgia lands this kid, Georgia fans better be excited because they should be. And he's not number 1, number 2, number 3, and he's not Julian Lewis, as far as rankings go, but this kid can absolutely sling it. And I think Georgia might start to pass South Carolina and Florida. If you're Ryan Montgomery and that family, and it's down to South Carolina, Florida, and Georgia, it's all about development or playing time. He could probably play earlier at a place at South Carolina or Florida, but this is going to trigger a lot of Georgia fans. The development will be better at Georgia under Mike Bobo. That's a fact. I know Billy Napier is a good coach. He's not the best fit for Florida, and it's not going to work out there. And he might only be there for another year or two. But he is a good coach, and he's got a good offensive mind. He's just not the right guy for Florida. And again, they just signed DJ Lagway, who's supposed to be their superstar. He was a must-get prospect for Florida. Had to have him. No one's a must-have at Georgia. Nobody. There's not a single recruit that Georgia must get. Georgia's going to win championships without Julian Lewis, without other 5 stars. Okay, they've shown that in the past. No one's a must-get. But for Florida and South Carolina, their quarterback targets are must-get. They have to get their guys. And DJ Lagway for Florida was that guy. He was the 5-star from Texas who could start as a freshman. If you're Ryan Montgomery, you're not going to go to Florida, sit behind that guy for very long. So there's a lot going into it. They have to make a family decision, but it's going to come in early May. So there is a Georgia quarterback target coming off the board. But Julian Lewis is the guy that everyone wants to talk about, right? He's the number 2 quarterback right now, as far as that I've seen, according to the industry rankings out there. Number 2 quarterback, number 9 overall prospect in the country. He's had an incredible high school career so far. I don't think any quarterback in Georgia football history, and that includes Deshaun Watson, Trevor Lawrence, Gunnar Stockton, I don't think any of them have had a better freshman and sophomore season than Julian Lewis at Carrollton, playing in 7A ball, just slinging the ball all over defenses left and right. Very good player. He's committed to Southern Cal, but he was in Athens on March 14th, and of course he reached out to me and had to give me some scoop, because I get it. Here's what he said. He said, the past couple of years, it's changed a lot for me as far as, the recruiting process, his relationship with Georgia and all that good stuff. He said, when I go to Georgia now, it's guys I've grown up with out there practicing. Watching KJ Bolden and Sokovia White compete was really fun. They both look really good. So he was in town watching a spring practice. He said for Carson, it's kind of like Stetson was that second year. You can just tell. And he's talked about, that the spring going in to his second year starting, right? Stetson Bennett was very confident and was a little different going into the 22 season because he knew he was the guy. We knew Carson was the guy last year, but Kirby never said anything until later. But now Carson knows he's the guy, and he's playing with even more confidence and practicing in a different way, knowing he's the guy. And Julian Lewis even saw that and said, I could see a difference in Carson Beck now that he knows he's the starter for the entire spring. He said, I went to the meetings and hung out with Coach Bobo, Coach Gummy, who is an assistant offensive analyst, and Coach Streeter after practice for a while. I've known all 3 of them for a long time now, so it's very relaxed. Georgia wants Julian Lewis. Everyone does. But again, he's taking visits to Colorado. I think Auburn wants him badly. He's a must-get for Auburn. I don't think Auburn's going to get him, but Auburn's a program that still has must-have recruits. Again, Georgia's not like that. They've passed that point in their program where if they miss on a guy, it's not a big deal. You'd like to have your top targets, but if Georgia misses on a top target or 2, it's not a big deal. They're going to bounce back and they're going to replace that guy or go get him out of it doesn't matter, right? Georgia's an elite program. Others aren't, and that means they need to get their quarterbacks in a bigger way than Georgia does, if that makes sense. Georgia can miss on guys, especially when you got Jared Curtis in the 2026 class, 5-star. He might be the number 1 quarterback in his class. He's already committed. He's ready to go. He's ready to be a dog. So they do need a guy in this 25 class. And right now, it just seems like there's 2 quarterbacks in this thing. Ryan Montgomery, Julian Lewis. Ryan Montgomery is going to make a decision in early May, so just a few weeks ahead. I can see him signing with Georgia. I can see Georgia coming from behind and overtaking Florida and South Carolina. I mean, anyone can see that. I mean, it's Georgia, right? It's a smart decision for most people, but everyone's different. Everyone's looking for different things, whether it's NIL, playing time, coaching stability. There's a lot of factors. And if Georgia wants to flip Julian Lewis, they're going to have to meet every single one of those factors. And the same with Ryan Montgomery, because one school is going to show him that they can address every single need and every single want that this prospect has. At the end of the day, Georgia's going to get one of the, I would be shocked if they didn't get either one of Julian Lewis or Ryan Montgomery. But we'll see how it goes. But that's where everything shapes up at quarterback right now. We've got notes on that and so many more. So many. We got a lot of insider scoop on Dawg right now. You can sign up to our free newsletter. That link is right down below. It's free to sign up. It's easy. It takes 5 seconds. We'd really appreciate that. Hope you've enjoyed this video, but I want to see you on the website, so see you there.